On last week's episode of Wrestle Ring,
I'm in firm belief this was just a method to show Ted DiBiase's plumber crack.
Andy Cabbage. Ooh, baby. Hello, everybody, and welcome to VGWA World. I'm Cobretti,
And I'm Wally.
and come join us today for our next episode of Wrestle Rank. We'll replay through all the console wrestling video games.
Woohoo! One of my favorite parts.
In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Superstar Pro Wrestling for the Nintendo Famicom.
All right, let's get the commercial running.
Okay, no commercial this time, but I can give you a special sneak peek that Famitsu magazine had for this game,
Well, that's awesome. Let's check that out.
with highlights including 13 wrestlers, a fully customizable 5 moves of doom. You get to pick 4 moves from a selection of 8, plus you have your own finishing maneuver for the astounding price of 5,500 yen.
5,500 yen is the equivalent to $41 currently, but in 1988 it was equivalent to $14.61. Man, by today's standard, that's 13,810 yen.
Or $106 about. If I was reading this preview, I would have been super stoked for this game.
Why? Because it has Andre the Giant in it?
Being able to play as Vader and the Road Warriors, it would have been a beautiful dream come true.
Whoa. Ahmed Johnson.
Not only that, whenever you look at the mock-up character select screen in this preview, it looks freaking amazing. I feel that it's very reminiscent of Street Fighter II, but on the Famicom hardware, which is why it probably wasn't in the finished game. Superstar Pro Wrestling was released for the Famicom on December 9th, 1989.
And published by Pony Canyon, developer Nichibushu.
Or should you say, developed by a company who refuses to take credit for this game.
On the box, Pony Canyon's name is all over it, so they really wanted you to know they were part of this game.
Featuring an amazing roster of 12 knockoff wrestlers.
They replicated some of the biggest stars in Japan at the time.
You have your bread and butter of Japan wrestling, Antonio Inoki and Giant Baba.
Plus 2 wrestlers that have made names for themselves in Japan very quickly, Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody.
Including the hard-hitting styles of Big Van Vader and Abdullah the Butcher.
Before we had Jungle Boy, we had Dino Ricky Chosho.
And if you wanted to go by Dave Meltzer, that 4th or 6th biggest star in Japan Pro Wrestling, Genichiro Tenryu.
And a trailblazer in MMA, Akira Maeda.
Also including our fellow adopted Texan, Jumbo Tsuruta.
And finally, everyone's favorites, the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk.
My favorites are the Brony Warriors. And if you can make it to the end of the game, final boss, Andre the Giant.
You know, at the time, it had been very disappointing he wasn't a playable character, that he was just an NPC boss. With a roster of popular wrestlers, this has to draw in wrestling fans to play the game.
This lineup has been the most impressive roster of wrestlers of a video game we have covered yet.
Before difficulty levels were put into games to select from, this game has to have difficult level on high for the controls. My fingers and forearms are killing me.
I eats me spinach and I plays Superstar Wrestling. This is not saying that necessarily the controls are bad, but the hit detection is very finicky, and the computer always stays 1 pixel away from getting hit.
It was harder than lining up Ramen Man's finisher in Kinnikuman. Note, a self-plug to Kinnikuman that we do not get any compensation from. It's amazing how the AI could hit you with a punch while you're trying to kick. Didn't know arms were longer than legs.
So if you're ever looking for tips and tricks on how to play this game, go out and buy yourself a turbo controller.
Being the first game that you could select up to 4 moves out of 8 to perform in the match was the first time we've seen this.
Being able to do any kind of customization to your wrestlers in a video game during this time was unheard of. And then you get to throw in the bonus of having finishing maneuvers.
And finally a power bomb in a wrestling game.
Mind blown. A unique feature in this game that had not been implemented in previous games is that you had to wear down your opponents to perform finishing maneuvers.
But wait, there's more. You forgot about the wrench on the outside of the ring you could use.
Alright, I'll poke the AEW bear with a stick. Why do you need 30 more weapons when you have the wrench?
Not funny!
So once you get past the difficulty and some of the control issues, the game is actually pretty good. You have some pretty amazing things you can do within this game.
This game has taken some of the best features in other wrestling games and managed to incorporate them all within this one game. Take for instance the music of Tag Team Wrestling. I think this game has an equally as good soundtrack.
Well, it sounds like we're changing the theme music to all of our videos.
And let's not forget the mind-blowing speech at the time of
Superstar Pro Wrestling!
at the beginning of the game.
In this game, there's music in each section, from the start screen to the character select, the move select, and the match in the ring, which we didn't hear too much of because we didn't last very long.
Pro wrestling had good music, but after hearing the same song over and over again, it became completely mind-numbing. Since we suck so bad, we never had to worry about that, and I never got tired of the music.
Also, one of the greater additions to this game is the ref count. There's actually a 1, 2, and unfortunately we always heard 3. During a pinning situation, you had a counter going up to 3, which also indicated a 2.9, 2.4 count. Did Fire Pro steal this?
Man, forget Fire Pro. Was this the major influence for Super Cena? Cena kicks out from getting hit by a Mack truck! And then let's talk about the ring design in this game. Taking the ability to pan the camera back and forth like Muscle Tag Match, but with better graphics. This little detail greatly increases the immersion of this game,
Whoa, I feel like I'm in a wrestling match, man.
giving it the feeling of a television-produced match. And then when you get thrown outside of the ring, you still get a front view until you reach the corner, and then it switches to an isometric view.
Again, Fire Pro, where are you getting your ideas from?
And I will say that the graphics are on par with Pro Wrestling by Nintendo, but the wrestlers are presented in a more cartoon style, with exaggerated features so you could tell them apart, as opposed to the more realistic models of Nintendo Pro Wrestling, which ironically had to rely on gimmick wrestlers with bright cartoon colors.
Bright colors were the fad of the 80s. If they started to break dance and doing the worm, I'd have been blown away.
To help distinguish each competitor.
During tag team matches, when you tag your partner, he's nothing but a blue shadow. But during the match, there's nobody on the apron waiting for that tag.
And unlike WrestleMania, you're not performing in front of an empty house show where they had to turn off the lights because you're performing in an empty arena.
During a finishing move, the screen flashes red, which will indicate that, well, your game is over probably.
While gameplay against the computer is exceptionally painful, this game is a good, fun, two-player game.
As for a two-player couch co-op experience, this game is a lot more pleasant than other ones. But you could still lose a friend. Wait. Or you could play with somebody who's not your friend.
Yeah, Wally, you're like that bad penny that just won't go away. And now it's time to rate this game. I give this game a good rating.
I do too. This game is actually pretty good. Mind you, getting used to the controls, a little difficult on the hit detection, but the game is still fun and good to play.
With excellent sound, good graphics, and introducing customization to wrestlers, the only area where this game was lacking was in the brutal AI.
You're right, Cobretti. The solo gameplay is a little more challenging than what it probably should be.
You know a game is too hard whenever even Famitsu's like, whoa, hold up there, this game is too hard, in a review. So now on to the ranking of this game. Where does it stand on the Kinnikuman line? I say this game is better than Kinnikuman.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is better than Kinnikuman. And I think it's better than Matt Mania.
Are you sure about that? Matt Mania did have superior graphics.
But this game has tag team, solo play, lose a friend match, and 12 wrestlers to pick from.
But we were actually able to beat Matt Mania.
A day of my life I probably will never get back.
So maybe we should have given Superstar Pro Wrestling another chance, but this time with save states, and the magic of video editing. Not that we had save states for Matt Mania.
Yes, without the aid of save states.
But now you sold me on this game so much, I'm starting to think it needs to go above Tag Team Pro Wrestling.
Oh, hold your horses there. You already abused tag team with the audio. Don't go any further than that.
But look at the finishing maneuver rules in Tag Team Pro Wrestling. What the hell kind of game has rules for finishing maneuvers? Oh, you can use a finishing maneuver, but you could only do it against one tag team partner. And you could do it whenever you want it. So does it really make it a finishing maneuver?
Okay, you got me on gameplay. But with tag team, I could win every match. Where this, I lost every match. And my forearms were burning.
Fine, you wore me down. I'm gonna give it to Tag Team just because of its pick up and play nature. So now I think we're in agreement that this game belongs just below Tag Team Wrestling. So make sure to catch us next time when we talk about what we want from WrestleQuest, the wrestling RPG. We will be taking a short break for the holidays, but we'll keep you back to your regularly scheduled program as soon as we can.